You have been in someone's home before and immediately felt it. Something is off. The house is nice, the neighborhood is nice, the size is nice, but the whole place reads a little cheap, and you cannot put your finger on why. Well, I can, and after today, so can you. There are 17 specific mistakes that quietly cheapen almost every home in almost every country. Some of you are already making 3 or 4 of them right now without knowing it. That is not your fault. Nobody teaches this stuff. Builders will not tell you because they save money on the cheap version. Contractors will not tell you because you asked for the wrong thing and they gave it to you. Today, we are going to fix that. We are walking through the mistakes in order, from the easiest ones to reverse all the way to the single biggest one that costs the most to undo. And one promise before we start, I am not going to tell you to spend more on everything. That is not real advice. Real advice tells you where the money actually matters, and where the affordable choice done well is the right choice. Anywhere the comments have pushed back on something, I am giving you the honest version. You deserve it. Let's begin. The easy fixes. We start with the mistakes that are almost pure decoration. If you get them wrong, you swap a pillow. If you get them right, your rooms breathe. Chasing every small accessory trend. Small accessories are the safe place to experiment. Pillows, throws, small lamps, vases, art. They're also the easiest place to waste money without realizing it if you automatically buy based on new recommendations. Repeated trend buying drains money over the years and teaches your eye to chase novelty instead of building a home you love. If a color or a pattern speaks to you, buy it on a pillow, not on your kitchen island. Too many statement pieces fighting in one room. Statement pieces work because they are rare. When there is a bold rug, a bold sofa, a bold light, and a bold art wall in the same space, your eye stops trusting the room and starts feeling exhausted. There is a rule that great designers quietly follow. No more than one high-contrast permanent piece per room. Variegated floors with a busy stone countertop already means 2 competing signals. Everything else should support the hero, not compete with it. These are the low-stakes ones, reversible in an afternoon. But the next set of mistakes gets planned before you ever move a piece of furniture, and once they are built in, they are much harder to undo. The planning choices you can still fix. Treating storage as an afterthought. Homeowners fall in love with the aesthetic first and figure out storage later. Then they move in. And the wine bar has no room for glasses, the mudroom has no hooks. The pantry cannot hold small appliances, and the entry is drowning in shoes and coats and hobby gear. Storage cannot be added later without ripping something out. Think through your daily objects, the groceries, the mail, the medications, the grandchildren's toys and books when they visit, the hobby supplies, the seasonal decor that has quietly grown for decades, the pet supplies, and design homes for them. Before you fall in love with a countertop, ottomans with lifting lids, benches with hidden storage, stair drawers, and furniture that doubles as storage solves small space problems most people never think to solve. Shallow drawers instead of deep ones. Standard builder drawers are 2 or 3 inches deep, enough for silverware and almost nothing else. Deep drawers hold pots, pans, mixing bowls, small appliances, and everything that would otherwise end up in a hard-to-reach lower cabinet. They open flat, so you see everything at once instead of digging through a black hole. Once the cabinet run is installed, redoing the drawer boxes costs real money. Tell your cabinet maker to go as deep as the space allows. Outlets in the wrong place. Every visible outlet chops up your backsplash, which is one of the most photographed surfaces in the home. The fix is to think about outlet placement early, but there is more than one right answer. Some people love outlet strips hidden under the upper cabinets. Others prefer pop-up outlets built directly into the counter. Others tuck a small line of outlets low on the backsplash where a coffee maker or a stand mixer hides them completely. The best answer depends on your cabinet style and how you cook. What matters is that you walk through your daily routine before the electrician shows up. Where does the coffee maker live? The mixer? The phone charger? Put outlets where your hand actually reaches, not where the builder defaulted them. Planning saves you the biggest regrets in a home, but the next set of mistakes happens on the walls themselves, and this is where the money quietly slips through your fingers without you noticing. The paint and sample traps. Approving flooring from a small sample. Hardwood is one of the most expensive surfaces in a home. A 3-inch swatch at the showroom tells you almost nothing about how a whole floor will read in your actual light, on your actual layout. Real designers deliver 2 or 3 large planks to your home and let you live with them for a week. Once the floor is nailed down, changing it costs thousands. Approving paint from a 2-inch chip. Paint chips at the store are tiny. That is nothing next to a full wall. Buy the small sample can. Paint at least a 2-foot square. Look at it in daylight and again in evening lamplight. Then decide. Every real designer paints multiple samples before committing. Not viewing paint on multiple walls at different times of day. The same paint on 2 opposite walls in the same room can look like 2 different colors. Cool on one side, warm on the other. This is not an illusion. Light bounces differently on every surface. Paint your sample on at least 3 separate walls in the room. Look at each during morning light, midday sun, afternoon light, and lamplight at night. This is the single step that separates people who love their paint from people who repaint. Skipping the extra coats. 2 coats is the minimum for a high-end result. Multiple coats, especially on saturated colors, is what real designers do. 1 coat looks fine the day it dries and looks muddy, 6 months later. Multiple coats also resist dirt and hold up longer. Wrong finish on baseboards. Baseboards live at floor level, which means they absorb the most abuse in the house. Shoes, mops, dogs, vacuum bumpers. Flat paint cannot be wiped clean. Full shine semi-gloss looks plasticky and shows every imperfection. Satin is the sweet spot. The right finish means you clean baseboards with a damp cloth for the next 20 years instead of repainting them every 3. Buying cheap paint that changes color. Even inside premium brands, there are budget lines. They look identical in the store. They are not. The cheaper lines are not color fast. Gray cabinets turn yellow within a year. White walls turn cream. Blue turns green in some light, and there is no fix except stripping and starting over. One viewer shared a story of her bedroom that she painted with cheap paint, and it stayed oddly sticky through summer, while the higher quality paint on the rest of her walls held up perfectly. Cheap paint fails in ways you do not expect. Pay the extra 20 to 30% for the top tier of a good paint line. Trusted names like Benjamin Moore, Sherwin-Williams, and Farrow & Ball are trusted by designers for a reason. They hold color, they resist dirt, and premium lines tend to have lower levels of volatile compounds, which matters for the air in your home, especially if children or grandchildren spend real time in the room. Paint is the layer most people underestimate. But now we cross into the choices that shape the cabinets, the water, and the countertops, and where the mistakes get harder and more expensive to fix. The cabinets, fixtures, and big-ticket regrets. Fake chrome on plumbing fixtures. Budget faucets and shower heads are often not real metal. They are plastic or pot metal with a thin chrome layer sprayed on top. Water eats through that coating in a few years. The finish peels, the handles snap, and you cannot fix it. You replace it. One viewer shared a story where her faucet handle snapped off in her hand, and the inside turned out to be plastic. Read the product description before you buy. Look for solid brass or solid stainless steel construction. Real materials cost slightly more upfront and save you the plumber bill later. Skimping on plumbing fixture quality overall. Beyond the fake chrome issue, cheap fixtures fail in other ways. Weak water flow, unreliable temperature, cartridges that break. Every failure is a plumber bill, and a plumber charges the same to install a $100 faucet as a $500 one. Quality does not mean expensive. Trusted brands like Delta and Kohler make solid warranted fixtures at reasonable prices, and their replacement parts are still available years later. That matters, because with lesser-known brands, the model is often discontinued right when you need a repair. And a real tip a viewer shared that most people never learn. A single brand often carries different quality levels at different stores. The big box version of a faucet can look nearly identical to the specialty store version of the same faucet at 1/3 of the price, and be built with completely different internal materials. 2 fixtures that look the same can be built completely differently. Read the specs before you decide. Cabinets that stop short of the ceiling. Standard builder cabinets stop about a foot below the ceiling. That gap collects dust and becomes a shelf for wine bottles nobody drinks. In a standard 9-foot or 10-foot ceiling, running cabinets all the way up transforms the whole kitchen. It reads high-end and doubles as extra storage for the things you use twice a year. In a very tall ceiling, 11 feet or more, or a vaulted or A-frame ceiling, running cabinets all the way up is not the right answer. There, a well-designed soffit or a stepped upper row bridges the gap so nothing looks awkward or wasted. And the soffit does not have to be an afterthought either. Done well, it can be trimmed to match the cabinets, painted the same color, and read as intentional. The principle is the same everywhere. Eliminate the visual dead zone. Do not leave a dust shelf. Cheap builder-grade baseboards. The standard baseboard from the big box store is 3.5 inches tall and made from the flimsiest material available. It is the single loudest signal that a house was built by a budget builder cutting every corner. Swap for a taller baseboard. 7.25 inches is a magic number that works in most 9-foot and 10-foot ceilings. But match the profile to your home's style. Traditional and transitional homes look right with a subtle stepped profile. Contemporary and modern homes look right with a taller flat panel. The ornate trim would feel wrong there. What matters is the height and the material, not the ornament. And a real note on material. Medium density fiberboard is affordable and beautiful in dry areas, but it does not hold up in bathrooms or laundry rooms where moisture reaches the floor. In those rooms, use solid wood or a moisture-resistant PVC alternative. One more question I hear often. You do not have to change your ceiling molding to upgrade your baseboards. They live in different visual zones. Taller baseboards work with the existing ceiling trim in almost any home. Taller baseboards, right material, right profile. That combination instantly lifts any room out of builder grade. Chasing trends on big-ticket pieces. Trending finishes look amazing in the moment. Then everyone copies them. Then the copy shows up at every big box store. 3 years later, your custom kitchen looks like a low-budget rental. The farmhouse trend is a perfect example. Beautiful in 2020, tired by 2025, and quietly dated by 2030. Your big pieces, the kitchen, the primary sofa, the countertops, the tile should read timeless. Classic materials, quiet colors, and shapes that were beautiful 30 years ago and will still be beautiful 30 years from now. Save the trends for the small things you can easily swap. And the biggest mistake of all is patterned faux stone pretending to be marble. Let me be honest with you here, because you were honest with me first when I have talked about this before. Porcelain slabs and quartz slabs get a lot of criticism, and it is not fair to lump them all together. Plain quartz counters are functional, durable, and look right in the right kitchen. Quartzite, which is a natural stone and completely different from engineered quartz, is one of the most beautiful counter materials on Earth. Sintered stone, which is crushed quartz compressed under high heat, is nearly indestructible and looks stunning. The problem is not porcelain or quartz as materials. The problem is patterned imitation, a printed vein trying to fake real marble. The reason the veining betrays itself is simple. Printed patterns repeat. A real marble slab has veining that never repeats because it was formed by nature over millions of years, layer by layer, deep underground. The eye catches the repetition even when it does not consciously know what it is seeing. That is why designers spot fake veining from the front door. Buyers spot it too. So the honest rule is this: if your budget can carry a real material, marble, quartzite, or sintered stone, that is where your money goes. If you love the look but need a lower price point, use the plainest version of quartz or porcelain, not the veined one that tries to imitate stone. Marble is not right for every kitchen either. Heavy Asian cooking, families with small children, and hard-use households often do better with quartzite or sintered stone. If you love marble but worry about scratches and etching, a product called Tough Skin coats the surface and makes it fully impermeable. The problem you were afraid of is a solved problem. The kitchen is the single biggest reason houses sell. Getting the counter right does not mean spending the most. It means choosing a material that actually looks like what it is. So there they are. 17 mistakes, grouped from the easiest to reverse all the way to the ones that shape the value of the whole house. Were you able to write everything down? Don't worry, you can save this video and watch it as many times as you like. If you take away one lesson from this whole video, take this one. The goal is not perfection. The goal is not to make your home look like a magazine cover. A home should feel like yours, warm, lived in, comfortable. The mistakes we walk through today are not about chasing perfection. They are about avoiding the choices that quietly make a home feel false. Real materials, timeless bones, thoughtful storage, honest finishes. That is it. Fix a handful of them and the whole house feels different. Now here is what I would love to know. Out of everything we walked through today, which mistake are you already regretting? Which one are you fixing this weekend? Which one made you think, so that is why my house has always felt off? Tell me in the comments. If this gave you real ideas, share it with someone who is remodeling, building, or refreshing. Subscribe if you want to keep learning what quietly separates a designed home from a decorated one. See you in the next one.